Alright guys, so what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about the different angles that can be formed when two parallel lines are cut by a transversal. And then we're going to discuss how to use that information to determine missing angle measures. So first off, let's look here at our cheat sheet that we did the other day in class. So we have our corresponding angles. Remember, corresponding angles are in the same relative location or the same area of the intersection. So that's going to be upper left hand, upper left hand. They're in the same relative location of their intersection. The next one we have is alternate exterior. Alternate means on the alternate sides of the transversal or opposite sides of the transversal, and they are outside the parallel lines. Vertical angles are still across from each other at an intersection, like these two yellow ones right here. Same side interior, same side of the transversal, inside the parallel lines. So these green angles here, same side of the transversal, inside the parallel lines. Alternate interior, alternate sides of the transversal, inside the parallel lines. Same side exterior, same side of the transversal, the purple ones, outside the parallel lines. So our corresponding angles, alternate interior angles, alternate exterior angles, and vertical angles are all congruent. And the only one of these that are not on opposite sides of the transversal is our corresponding angles. Supplementary angles are same side interior, same side exterior. So those are on the same side of the transversal. And then we have our linear pair, any two angles that form a line, and that's going to have, it could have the same side of the transversal, it could be opposite sides of the transversal. It just depends. They do have to be touching, and they have to share a side, and they have to form a line. So first, before we do anything else with this information, let's go ahead and practice identifying angle pairs and whether they are congruent or supplementary. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and highlight my parallel lines. It makes them easier to see and distinguish things. I'm going to use line stroke 4 and a high transparency. Oops. All right. So I have my parallel lines here. We know because they have the arrows. And then my transversal, which is the line that crosses them. Okay, and we're going to look at the two angles they give me, angle 3 and angle 5. So let's look at that. So we have angle 3 and angle 5. They are on opposite sides of the transversal, and they are inside the parallel lines. So these are alternate interior angles, which means they are congruent. And when it explains, says give your reasoning, you're going to say alternate interior angles. You can abbreviate that if you need to. The next angle pair they want us to look at is angle 1 and angle 8. And we can see those are on the same side, so they are going to be supplementary because they are not vertical angles. And those are same side exterior. Up next, we have angle 2 and angle 6. So we have 2 and 6. These are on the same side of the transversal, but they are in the same relative location, so they are corresponding angles, which means they are congruent. Okay, so the next one makes more sense to identify the angle pair first and then the relationship. Okay, so then we have angle 1 and angle 7. Angle 1 right here, angle 7 here. And those are going to be alternate exterior angles. They are on opposite sides of the transversal, and they are outside the parallel lines. And so they are congruent angles. Angle 4 and angle 5, they are on the same side of the transversal, and they are on the inside of the parallel lines, so they are same side interior, which means they are supplementary angles. Angle 3 and angle 7 are both in the lower right-hand side of their intersection, so they are corresponding angles, and they are congruent. Up next is 5 and 6. They are on opposite sides of the transversal, however, they share the transversal as a side, and they are a linear pair, which means they are supplementary, because a linear pair is always supplementary. Okay. Angle 2 and angle 4, right here, they're across the intersection from each other, which makes them vertical angles, and so therefore they are congruent. All right, up next we have example number 2, and it says measure of angle 1 is 65 degrees. So I'm going to go ahead and put 65 degrees right there in the spot next to angle 1. And then it asks me to find the other angles. So the first one I'm going to do is angle 2, and that's going to be 115 degrees. The reason for that is it is a linear pair with angle 1. And linear pairs are supplementary. And so therefore 180 minus 65 is going to be 115. Now for the rest of these, they will all be either 65 or 115 because there's only 2 potential angle measures here. So angle 3 is going to be 65 degrees. And one reason is that it is a vertical angle with angle 1. And it is also a linear pair with angle 2. Normally you will not need to label every single reason. I will be listing them all here. Angle 4 is 115 degrees. It is vertical to angle 2 and a linear pair with both angle 3 and angle 1. So it means any of these 3 reasons: vertical, angle 2, linear pair, angle 1, or linear pair with angle 3. All of those are acceptable reasons. You will notice that as we continue down the line, there will be more reasons for each of them. We're basing it on what do we currently know right now at this stage in the list. So if we go in order, okay. So I would not know what order you went in. So again, it doesn't really matter if your reasons are slightly different than mine. If they are, I'll check them for you, but make sure to verify that they are correct. All right, so angle 5 is going to be 65 degrees, again for several reasons. One is it's corresponding to angle 1. It's in same side interior with angle 4. It is alternate interior with angle 3. All right, measure of angle 6 is 115 degrees because it's a linear pair with angle 5. It is alternate interior with angle 4. It is same side interior with angle 3. And it is corresponding to angle 2. So any of those reasons would be acceptable. The measure of angle 7 is 65 degrees. It is a linear pair with angle 6. It is vertical to angle 5. It is an alternate exterior with angle 1. Same side exterior with angle 2 and corresponding to angle 3. So again, any one of those reasons would be acceptable. And finally, we have angle 8, which is 115 degrees. And angle 8 at this point is the only angle that has a relationship that we can easily say, as we've gotten each piece of information, we can easily say that angle 8 is related to every other angle except angle 3. It is not directly related to angle 3. We are same side exterior to angle 1. We're alternate exterior to angle 2. Linear pair with both angles 5 and 7. And we've got vertical to angle 6. And finally, we have corresponding to angle 4. Yes, all of them. So next, we're going to apply some algebra to these relationships. So it says to treat L as if it's parallel to M. So we're going to make sure we highlight all of our parallel lines and our transversals. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do on each of these problems is classify the angle relationship. So in this case, we have corresponding angles, and they are congruent. So because they are congruent, we are going to set the two expressions equal to each other. So we're going to have 5x minus 2 is equal to 58. We're going to go ahead and add 2 to both sides. And then that gives us 5x equals 60. Then we're going to divide both sides by 60. I'm sorry, by 5. We're going to divide both sides by 5. And that's going to give us a value of x equals 12. Number 2, we have alternate exterior angles, which are congruent. So again, just like in the previous problem, we're going to set them equal to each other. So we have 16x plus 22 is going to be equal to 134. We're going to subtract 22 from each side, which gives us 16x is equal to 112. Then I'm going to divide both sides by 16. And that gives me a final answer of x equals 7. Number 3, we have alternate interior angles, which are also congruent. So far, it's all been fairly simple. We're going to set the expressions equal to each other, just like we have been doing. So we have 7x minus 1 is equal to 125. Then what we're going to do is we are going to add 1 to both sides, which will give me that 7x is equal to 126. Divide both sides by 7, and we are going to end up with x is equal to 18. Let me check that. 18. That's correct. All right, moving right along, we have number 4. These are same side interior angles, and they are going to be supplementary. So that means they are going to be equal to, summed up to 180. So we're going to have 9x plus 2. And we're going to add 133. And that's going to equal 180. We're going to combine like terms. So we have 9x plus 135 is equal to 180. We're going to subtract the 135 from both sides, which leaves us with 9x equals 45. If we divide both sides by 9, we are going to find that x is equal to 5. All right, number 5, we have alternate exterior angles, which are congruent. So again, we're going to set them equal to each other. We have 8x minus 77 is going to be equal to 3x plus 38. What we are going to do from there is we are going to subtract the 3x from both sides. And again, I like to keep my x's positive, and that's why we're subtracting the 3x, because 8x minus 3x is 5x. We're going to have 5x minus 77 is equal to 38. I will need to add the 77. 5x is equal to 115. And if I were to divide both of those sides by 5, I would find that the x is going to be equal to 23. Number 6 is going to be corresponding angles, which are congruent. So I'm going to have 11x minus 47 is equal to 6x minus 2. And then we're going to have subtracting the 6x from both sides. And if you're wondering how I'm spacing, again, backslash and space. Okay, and that means I'm going to have 5x minus 47 is equal to negative 2. I'm going to add the 47 to both sides, which is going to give me 45. So we have 5x is equal to 45. And if we divide both sides by 5, we're going to find that x equals 9. Number 7, we have alternate interior angles, which are congruent. So yet again, we're going to set them equal to each other. We have 13x minus 21 is going to be equal to 5x plus 75. I'm going to subtract the 5x from both sides. And then that is going to leave me with 8x minus 21 is going to be equal to 75. I'm going to add the 21 to both sides. And that's going to leave me with 8x is equal to 96. Divide both sides by 8. And that's going to leave us with x equals 12. Number 8, same side exterior. That means they are supplementary. So we get to do something a little bit different. We have 9x minus 33. And we're going to add to that 5x plus 3. And that's going to be equal to 180. Step 1 here is going to be to combine like terms. So 9x plus 5x is 14x. And negative 33 and positive 3 is going to be minus 30. And that's going to be equal to 180. I'm going to add the 30 to both sides. And that's going to leave me with 14x is equal to 210. We're going to divide both sides by 14. Which will leave me with x is equal to 15. All right, number 9, our last problem. We will have one like this on the test, so make sure you're prepared for it. We are solving for both x and y. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to solve for x. And the reason I'm going to solve for x first is I have enough information to do so. I have two angles that both have x. They are alternate interior angles, which means they are congruent. So I'm going to set the expressions equal to each other. We have 8x minus 31 is going to be equal to 6x plus 3. I'm going to subtract the 6x from both sides. And then I'm going to be left with 2x minus 31 is equal to 3. I'm going to add 31 to both sides, which is going to give me 2x is equal to 34. I'm going to divide both sides by 2. Which will leave me with a result of x is equal to 17. Now, if I move on to my other angle pair that I need to do for this, I will have 5y plus 35 and 6x plus 3. I can see they are same side interior, so they are going to be supplementary. And of course, supplementary means that the sum of the measures is 180. So we're going to go ahead and put 6x plus 3 added to 5y plus 35. And that's going to equal 180. I'm going to substitute the 17 in for x. So we have 6 times 17, add 3, and then we're going to add 5y plus 35 equals to 180. 6 times 17 is 102, plus 3 is 105. And then we're going to add to that 5y plus 35, and that's going to be equal to 180. We're going to combine like terms, so we have 140 plus 5y is equal to 180. Here we need to go ahead and subtract the 140 from both sides. And that leaves us with 5y is equal to 40. We will then divide both sides by 5, which leaves us with a result of y is equal to 8. So that is this entire note page of how to use algebra to determine missing angle measures when given parallel lines cut by a transversal. For full credit for the notes, you will need the highlighted questions, so 9, 4, 2, 1, and the entire first page. So all of these have to be done together. But other than that, everyone stay safe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.